with this kind of live stream. I'm I'm learning, and I'm nervous to make the live streaming in English. I don't have I had to speak in English uh, in the live streaming, and yeah, let's start with the talk. Okay, as my name is Fabiana. Tonight is 20 January 20. We are in 2026 or 2026, whatever you prefer. And I'm making this streaming, trying to make a bridge between what we are reading, we are listening in the social medias, and with what we are watching, because in those times things are a little bit different. We hear something, but what we watch, it's among other things, chaotic among another things. Okay, I was trying to talk about it last night, and I will continue it uh, today. I ask you for a little bit of patience, because I'm not used to make lives in English, and I'm not oh I'm oh let me breathe. I'm nervous. Okay, no problem. And I was telling about what's happening between Brazil, Venezuela, United States, and the geopolitical frame around the world, by our eyes, okay, by our perspective here in Latin America. And we are mesmerized, just like you, about what is happening. Uh, in that case, now the focus are all the focus are in Greenland, because the attack of Donald Trump, President Donald Trump, and we are watching. What we are watching now is exactly the same thing that he did in Venezuela. Okay, but this I think this is a very interesting point, because what I realized, that the perspective, the perception of the people around the world, it's not going through this side. People are thinking that is something very different, because they are talking about Greenland and Venezuela. Uh, didn't have the same defense and the same advocates that Greenland is having now. Okay, but it's understandable. It's understandable, because President Donald Trump is an imperialist, is a fascist, and he is from far right wing. And among other things, the majority, uh, uh, the majority of the people around the world, they are from the right. I think that they are supporting all the far right segments, okay, regimes, and the majority of the people believes in what corporative medias are telling us how reality is now. Okay, and people are consuming that kind of information. Okay, but we know that President Donald Trump is making the supremacist speech. Okay, so um, he have the support. Having the support of the corporative media, he also have the support of the other countries that are sharing this kind of thoughts. Um, um, and because of it, he uh, he he has the necessary support to make things happen, looking like they are different, but they are not. They are still the same. Uh, we can see that in Venezuela, people around the world didn't behave like they are behaving, advocating for Greenland. Uh, what I saw here in Latin America, that the treatment that he's giving for us is different for of the treatment that he is giving from Greenland. But um, uh, because of it, we still thinking that he wouldn't make things happen like he did here in Venezuela. But we are all surprised because he will attack Greenland like he attacks Venezuela. And um, uh, beyond his being a racist like he is, um, he is an autocrat. Okay, and he's making things happen like by his own and individual opinion, and he is not being multilateral leader how he should be in a globalized world, in a globalized world. Sorry, in a globalized world, and being like that, he wants uh, to to I think that he wants to buy to colonize all the planets. He thinks he is in a ship going through a different planet and conquer this new planet that he is discovering now. I think that he discovered the Earth right now because of this kind of deliriums, like I told you yesterday. Like he was it's like he having problems with alcohol or something like that. And the last stage of the person that who have this disease, this problem, not making fun of it, not at all. I don't like that kind of things. Okay, I'm talking seriously. So looks like he's in the last stage of the a person that have problems with alcohol. That in medicine we call delirium tremens. Okay, it's the last stage when the person lose completely their her own uh, her own control of her body. And this person that have this disease is have all of her body out of her control. Okay, and this affects all of this person that have that problem, her life or his life um, um, cannot be controlled anymore. Okay, I think that that stage doesn't have a cure. Okay, because uh, there are many of uh, brain, how we say that in English, uh, the person, uh, the person is so have many oh, I don't know how we say that, but when the brain is affected in a way that he can uh, rebuild, the brain cannot rebuild himself anymore, of course, but the person cannot come back from that stage. Let's talk like that. It's something like that in the rude way to talk, okay. After another day I will speak much better, okay. I need to practice to put it out and can start to talk uh, uh, more frequently. And I think that acting like that, he is acting like a nonsense person. And acting like a nonsense person, we can expect everything from him. Okay, I was talking about President Lula that was invited to be part of the council of the for the peace in Gaza, and I still don't having um, formatted opinion. Okay, I still doesn't know what I should think about that. I think that President Lula should be preserved of that kind of meeting, but um, by another side, uh, I think that only President Lula would be capable of a mission like that. Okay, it's one of the few people in the world that could be capable to deal with something like that. But the problem is that it can be a threat. Okay, it can be a trap. Trap is the it's a better word. Okay, a trap. I think can be a trap, not a trap to get President Lula, not like that, but a trap because. Uh, we don't know what Donald Trump will think tomorrow. Okay, he changed his mind day after day, and he doesn't change his mind to the attacks that he's making around the world. Uh, so we can conclude that uh, he will not change his modus operandi, okay, of acting in that kind of situation. So, knowing that, knowing that, I think that President Lula will be in will not be in a good situation. Okay, he will be in an uncomfortable situation, but we cannot underestimate the President Lula intelligence. Okay, I think that he's super capable to do that either, but there are another problems because we are not talking about only President Trump, Donald Trump. We are talking about everybody that will be in this meeting. And the people that will be in this meeting are all from the far right wing. So we can expect everything to happen, even that the meat will should be only to build a resort in Gaza. Okay, so if something like that happen, I think that President Lula will be very constrangido. I don't know. I will just let me look for this word here in English. Just a moment, gente. Embarrassed, I remember. I think that President Lula will be very embarrassed if something like that happens. Okay. And not only President Lula, but we also will be very embarrassed because we don't want to see something like that. Okay. That's a council for the peace transformed in in the uh, uh, in a party for the far left, far right wing, okay, in a kind of something like that. I don't know even to call by one name. Even in Portuguese, I also don't still don't know how I should call something like that. I don't think that will be something really good for us and doing that. But I already said that a few moments ago. I think that only President Lula will be capable to do that. And Donald Trump also know that President Lula will be the best choice that he could make in this council. Okay, so like what he have done with President Nicolas Maduro puts us in a very dangerous situation, okay? Because it was by his it was by Donald Trump interference in our continent, in our the South America continent, that Nicolas Maduro had his problems rise to the next level. Okay, we know that Venezuela has have a lot of problems. Okay, we know, but we also know that by many years, years and years and years, systematically, far right was directly manipulating people here in Brazil. The far left, the far right, I beg your pardon, the far right from the USA. Okay, they were doing that, and they still doing. Okay, and things ends like that. So President Maduro calls for help for many years. He didn't have the strong help that that he needs in that moment to the situation not be scaled like that. Okay, but he didn't have no support because of the accusations that he was receiving all the time. Okay, and it's a method that we are watching that they are making from in all over the world. Okay, South America, there are many countries that he did that. Argentina is the best example. That Argentina was uh, salad for a penny, I think. They said that the Milei, Javier Milei, he sold Argentina for a penny. Okay, and now they are passing through a situation that will be not comfortable for them for the next 50 years in the minimum. Okay, because they are keeping making I making, let me see the word again, sorry. They are keeping they are making debits, but I don't know that it's the word, the correct word. But I think that you are understand me. They are making debt with the FME, FME, and they are uh, taking money from the FME, and they are and they will never they will never be capable to pay for it, okay, because Argentina will not have money for that, okay, because one thing that was destroyed in Argentina, for an example, it was the meat the industry of the meat in Argentina. Okay, they have to sell all their meats and their milk for a penny. They have done that before, in another times. Things didn't happen, and Argentina was the president Christina Kirchner and the president Nestor Kirchner was very criticized because of the policy that they were using at that time, and the policy was the Argentina meat for the Argentinians, okay, like in Monroe Doctrine, but in the in oh, I'm sorry. It's like the America for the Americans, but the Argentina meat for the Argentinians. They were very criticized because of it, and they are for the left segment. Okay, they are progressists, not we are not from the right wing. So they were so criticized, and at the time, I remember that it was a very, they were very attacked because of it. Um, uh, and almost of the people who was criticizing them was from the far right, okay, and the far right is doing exactly that police, but not only in meat industry. I don't know that is meat industry. Just a second moment, please. I think that is the meat, no, meat market, okay, but I don't know if it's correct the word. I will study more to talk to you because I didn't write anything. I prefer to talk what I'm thinking at the moment, okay, and this kind of policy doesn't work. And I remember that the own para piorar o seu cérebro, peraí. Ah, now I know. The cattleman, but much better. I remember the word. The cattleman at that time didn't like that kind of police because that kind of police, the cattle, Argentina cattle for the Argentinians, okay, and they didn't like that because they taxed the meat that was going out of the country, that was for the international markets, like the commodities, okay, and they were very criticized because of it, and the cattleman didn't like it all at all, okay, and the cattleman started at that time to attack Christina Kirchner and Nestor Kirchner, believing in the rumors that was coming from outside, and this outside was exactly USA. But at that time, we didn't know that it was happening with so much uh, like a coordinated act. Okay, we didn't know that. We thought that it was a real. It was only a natural reaction for a person who was having problems with her own business. Okay, a sector in the economy that was not satisfied with the police, because of course the police at the time didn't work, and we didn't. I remember also to doesn't understand because the government at the time gave everything to support the cattlemen. Okay, uh, the farmers and everything that was going with uh, this amount of problems. They were mitigating the problems, but the problems still growing and growing and growing. And the farmers had to sold their cows, the cows that are the producers. Okay, I don't know the cow, when you sold the cow. Um, you don't have how to reproduce the cattle. Okay, so they have to close it. I think it was more than 500 frigorificals. Okay, I don't know how many but it was a giant amount of frigorificals. I think that's frigorificals in English. I think that is refrigerators. Okay, they have to sold the refrigerators. I think that was more than 500 refrigerators sold at that time. Okay, and we know also that the meat in Argentina is a meat of excellence. Okay, a cattle of excellence. They are they have a lot of another things. They were have um, uh, they have meat with premium badges. Okay, premiums from all over the world. So the quality of the meat, some meats there was even better than our meat in Brazil. Okay, and they make everything to grow the sector of the economy, and they couldn't do that. Okay, the cattlemen preferred at that time to plant. Um, now it's interesting. Now I have to find this the word. Okay, that's I think this beans. Yes, and instead of try to counterate the situation and believe in Christina or in the store at the time, first in the store, after in Christina, they substitute the cattle for soy. Okay, and that's what they have to do to survive. But for some part of this person, these people, it works. For another part, it not, doesn't works. And Cristina and the left and the Peronists in Argentina was criticized forever, like they're being until now. So we can put all this situation together and paying attention where when Christina suffered someone tried to kill Christina Kirchner, and try to give a shot in her head. And we putting all these things together, we can conclude a lot of things. We cannot prove, we cannot affirmate that is things are all connected, but uh, being in a method and in a standard of that, of their modus operandi, here in our country and our continent, and what and by what's happening in the other countries, we can conclude one thing, that they cannot be responsible directly, but they can be responsible in indirectly. Okay, and in the end, they already have conquered almost 50% of South America with that kind of uh, global politics. I don't know that I can call that, because uh, Donald Trump don't see the word globalized like he should see. He see the word for his own by his own eyes, and for his own eyes, America for the Americans. Okay, and he's using methods that are very obsolete, that we don't use anymore in a globalized world, because we have a chain of production that are dependent for of another countries. Okay, we cannot expect that an industry works with all making the production only in a country. Okay, I will give an example. In the Like they are behind the critical minerals in China and other places for build the chips for computers, and among other things. Okay, uh, we know that Donald Trump is is looking after that, and Argentina also have critical minerals that were that Donald Trump shows interest at the time. Okay, and after after help the Argentinians to uh, attack the left and the far left of the Argentina. He helped that by supporting Milei with also with money. Okay, he we can think that he was making this many years ago, and we can think that the Argentinian government was sabotaged, like Dilma herself, our president, was sabotaged here in Brazil. Okay, it was exactly the same method, without any kind of difference. Okay, but in my opinion, uh, that the perception of the people around the world is not that it's been a method, because people always think that, oh, this will not happen with us. We are here in Greenland, an example, but we can see now that it's not true. One thing that he is uh, he's doing as being very democratically with his own autocracy. I don't know that even if it exists, but I think something like that. We have to create words, okay? Because instead of it, we don't know how to call, okay? So the government of Dinamarca, I don't know, I know Dinamarca, Danish, I don't know Dinamarca in English. I Yes, Denmark, it's Denmark, okay. The government of Denmark, the militaries are positioned to and expecting an attack, and probably that it will happen in the next few days, few hours, I think. Okay, and I think that is this the beginning of a new age. Okay, that we will be no good for no one at all, and we are very worried here in Brazil because we saw the violence that our brothers in Venezuela was dealing with at the time. He have killed, I think almost 100% people, and among that people was 31 Cubans. They were militaries from the personal security of President Nicolas Maduro. Civilians was killed also. So the violence doesn't stay only in the appearance. The violence is getting worse. Um, uh, 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 it's getting worse while he's getting further and further after his acts, okay? After his wishes or something like that. Um, I really don't know how to choose the words. I'm very uh, um, terrified by that kind of feeling. I'm not feeling comfortable to talking about this kind of yeah, this kind of content. Okay, I'm not comfortable talking about that because I think that he's changing our own languages by the algorithm, by the social media, like President Lula told us today that he's governing by the social media for all over the world. Okay, he wants that the words obey his and respect his choice by what he writes on the social media. I think that this is not a behavior of people that is in his as 100% health, mental health. I don't think that he is with his mental health in 100%. I don't believe in it at all. Do not believe in that because this kind of behavior, what he wants with the government of the USA, he has so much money that he didn't need the government of the USA and even any government for nothing. He could live his life forever with his money, spend everything $1 million that he would never be a poor man. And why he is doing that? That is the point. Why this man is doing that? Okay. When I saw today, I was listening a podcast that was talking about the critical minerals, and after I make a research about uh, which minerals, which critical minerals that what he was looking for, I was very worried about the uranium. But what makes me feel much worried was not the uranium. It was another critical mineral that I heard today that have a powerful, very powerful capacity. And I don't know if you know this critical mineral, this uh, hair earth, okay? Hair earth, like we call here in Brazil. Hair earth is the better name for it, tá? And it's named by it's called by dysprosium, the dysprosium, and I'm in love with dysprosium. I saw a video today that talk about the characteristic of this element that is a very that's very rare in our planet. And one of the characteristics of the dysprosium, okay, it's not because of his atomic number, that's 66. It's not because of it. It's because a particular characteristic that the professor was telling in the end of the video. I don't know if I will share the video with you or not. I will think that before. Because one of these the characteristics, okay, I will talk in a very rude way, okay, but I think that you will understand. But a characteristic of this hair earth is that um, the particles have the capacity to retain water from the atmosphere. So I think that you can think why he is behind this such this particular hair earth, because not to build ships or and everything. Of course, that is important also. Okay, but this particular characteristic makes me makes me uh, uh, makes me think out of the box. Okay, I don't know how to talk more about this, but I think if you started to think in this particular point, you will understand more than we want to understand, because it's so it's so strange to think in what he can do with that it's to the world, it's for the world to be very worried about these kinds of things, okay? Because uh, and like I told also that they are really thinking in build a Noah arch. Okay, they are really believing that things will happen like that. So he's not caring about the world. He doesn't have time. He will not live forever. Okay, and why he will worry about the oxygen for the next generations. He doesn't care about the next generation. He thinks they believe in meritocracy. If they believe in meritocracy, it's another point to connect with the dysprosium, because if he believes in meritocracy, he believes that people who had no chance, that they have to live for themselves. They don't need the state. They don't need the public policies. They don't need nothing, because he thinks that these people have to do wherever they have to do to have money to survive, and that he is not caring about these people. So for he to build the Noah Arch, and or even if it's the in a resort kind of thing, né? Noah Arch from the Hollywood of something like that. I don't know if he will be the arch too stay here on Earth, or in in a resort frame, or he will really choose a ship to go out of the planet with his dysprosium to try to to uh, aggregate water wherever he will be. Okay, but for our lucky, no planet with water, no planet with an hydrated atmosphere were finded in our solar system, or that we can go that have this kind of atmosphere. So I think that if we have had if we had a planet with atmosphere, I think that our the dysprosium for all over the planet was ended a long time ago. Okay, but for other side, the uranium is also very important because of the not giant reactors, because of the small reactors that they are building for sustain this sustainable energy for the future. Because uranium, I'm not against the nuclear power, okay? I'm an activist, but I'm not against the nuclear energy. I'm not against. I agree with the nuclear energy, okay? I agree with the reactor. I think it's a clean energy. I think it's much cleaner than, of course, the fossil fuels. But if we give the treatment that is necessary, if we care in the way that this is necessary, it's necessary, we can use nuclear power for our own personal growing, personal and national way to talk. Okay, of course, and I'm not talking about myself. Okay, I think I make me understandable. I don't know, but if you have something any doubt, you can ask me. If I can read, I will answer. Okay, but it's like that. Okay, but the dysprosium, I'm in love with dysprosium. I love to know that he had this capacity to retain water from the atmosphere. I think that because it's a metal that it's very expensive. Okay, I was watching a video from Nottingham University, a professor that was explaining the dysprosium, and he was showing the properties of the elements, and it's amazing because it's kind of magnetic metal, and it's very magnetized. Okay, he has a magnetic field very intense in his particularities, and I thought that these characteristics will stop that, but this the I think the most interesting characteristics of the dysprosium was retain water from the atmosphere. I think this is amazing. I don't know why, but I think this is so much amazing that makes me think in many other things and make me forget all the problems from the world, because I have another conclusions about this thing, this about these elements, but I will not talk in that live. Okay, it's it's a talk to another live, and I will I will put it in my mind to talk to you about what I think what I think about these elements. Okay, these amazing elements was uh, that was showed in the Nottingham. Nottingham University. I don't know if it's a college or university that I forgot now. Sorry, and I will put the link here to you for you to watch because it's amazing. It's amazing. Okay, these hair earths have these properties, these particular properties that not do not stops in the technological in industry. It's not stopped there. Okay, it's I think they are using it for another things that they are not telling us for what these things are. Okay, and uranium is obviously, we know, straight to Hormuz channel. Our Hormuz channel. No, I don't. I think I told wrong words yesterday. Hormuz channel is it's easy to understand. Uranium, it's easy to understand. Fossil fuels is easy to understand, but the rare earths and the critical minerals, they have particularities that we should pay attention, a lot of attention. Okay, and because in his crazy thoughts, he has a very healthy mind behind of it. Okay, even if its mind it's not his own mind, but there's somebody behind the scene that's conducting the situation in a very intelligent way, and he is conquering everything that he wants. Okay, and now we can see Greenland uh, like we are seeing today and tonight. And I think I will stop here, people. I hope that you like. I'm sorry about my English. I will practice a lot because I have a lot to speak in English too. I speak a lot in Portuguese, but I want to speak with more people that thinks out of the box like us here. Uh, I'm a lefter. Okay, this channel is a my channel here is a progressist channel. Okay, and but my content it's not it's not pointed to only for the lefters or the progressists, not at all. Okay, I want to talk to everybody. My friends are not only from the left. Okay, I have a lot of friends that are from the far right. Yes, it's a choice that people are making. Okay, we cannot choose for everybody what the persons have to do with his own life, like Donald Trump makes with Nicolas Maduro. Even if the world doesn't understand why Nicolas Maduro has to close Venezuela like he closed it, okay, I think that the mistake of Nicolas Maduro was not close Venezuela like the Chinese closed China. Okay, I think that Nicolas Maduro should have closed Venezuela like the Chinese closed China for 30 years, and they not. I don't know if you know some kind of details that the internet in China has no cable that pass through. There's no intercontinental cables to connect the internet of the Chinese people with the other parts of the world. They preferred to invest in their own technology, okay, to don't be attacked by the gaslighting that are passing through the social medias and the digital platforms from coming from the USA and spread all over the world by that tools that they are using, and they are using very well for many and many years. We grow up putting all our data on the internet. We here in Brazil, okay, and South America, all South America, for more than 30 years, we are doing that naturally. Principally, this generation that grows, that was born under 30 years for now, okay, this generation was the most attacked by that kind of gaslighting. We can see here in Brazil that the young people are majority for the right. They think like Donald Trump. Okay, here in Brazil, why? This is not natural. This is not natural. Not in the country that are it's not all developed, like USA. We are growing, but we don't have an economy or a regime that it's like in Europe or in USA. But we will get there, okay? If democracy continues to imperate in Brazil, not an imperator from outside, an outsider imperator, like he's doing in Venezuela. Because of it, I create the channel to approximate, to create a bridge to approximate the people of the reality that we passing by here in Brazil. Okay, we are watching this. Here, things here are not like in Europe, for example. Okay, in Europe, I think that the law is more incisive. Okay, here in Brazil, things are slower because here in Brazil, people are already framed by that kind of thoughts. And how because we don't have a system, an educational system like of excellence, like Europe has these kinds of gaslighting penetrate here much more than penetrate in Europe. For example, okay, people in Europe can defend themselves, have the tools to defend themselves much better than us, okay, because of the deficits that we have in our systems, in our educational system, in our healthcare system, and among the other things. We're growing, things are getting much better with President Lula, much better. You can even imagine, okay, only who lives here in Brazil can say that, like I'm saying for you right now, okay? So we here are much more vulnerable for of these kinds of action that are perpetrating and spreading, being spreaded by the USA, much more than people in Europe or in China that protects in China, because China protects the China. People doesn't realize, but China protects the Chinese people of this kind of gaslighting, even if the Chinese people doesn't understand what the China government was doing. Okay, because of its knowing that, because knowing that Donald Trump called China like enemies. They don't call China like countering to like in let me see the word, just a minute please. Competitors. We here in Brazil, we see these giant economies like competitors, our competitors, and we take that like it's nice in sports. We are used to do that, okay? But things here in the USA are so so in a level that competitors is not a word that they use anymore. They use the word enemy to call a competitor that is the same level of they are exactly giant economies. They have a lot of sides in common. They have a lot in common. China and USA are much more similar that it looks like. Okay, it looks like they are very different. Of course, the regime in China, it's more fair than regime conducting by the president Donald Trump. But a few years ago, without Donald Trump, USA was growing in a very much organic way, like China. But China, even it doesn't look like that China is growing organically. China is growing organically for sure. Okay, the growing in USA now, the growing of the economy in USA are being very artificial because of the Donald Trump's policies. Okay, this is not a natural growing of a country. He is stealing. He's cutting the money for the poor people, and so he is accumulating money. That's what he knows how to do. He knows how to accumulate money very well because it was that he did all of his life. Okay, so the growing that he is making for the USA economy, it's not a natural growing like China is doing. Okay, I'm telling that they're very similar in quantities, okay, in sizes, because everything's giant, everything is too much, okay. But China is dealing with that with much more intelligence than Donald Trump, and that's what is terrifying him right now, okay. So and that's why I created this channel to try to explain, not for the rest of the world what's really happening here, but to explain for my people also, because people here in Brazil doesn't understand what's happening in Venezuela. And I don't know if you know what I would say now, that people here in Brazil, we know much more, we receive much more information from Europe and from USA than we receive from the countries that our neighbors, okay, from our own South America. So we here have to do this work, this job too, okay. And I think it's the time to do that is now. Even if you hate the president Nicolas Maduro. Of course, he has a lot. I'm also have I also have a lot of criticism also to make of him. Okay, but I think if it's bad with President Nicolas Maduro, it's worse. It's very worse with President Donald Trump. Okay, and because he, like I told you yesterday, he's already selling the fossil fuels from Venezuela, the barrels of oil, they already sold it. And the money, he's keeping the money of this amount of money in the banks of Qatar, the Qatari banks. Okay. And this is very serious. This is a point that we should pay attention. Okay. Because Qatar is allied with Arabia Saudita. Okay, and they are I don't know how to say in English, sunnis. That's not the problem. The problem is because he's criticizing China, Iran, and Russia, but he is creating a bloc that it's much more bigger than this bloc that he's criticizing, and at the same time he's destroying OTAN. Okay, people are having to explain what OTAN is. For who doesn't know, and NATO, né, is the an alliance of the Atlantic North, military alliance from the Atlantic North. Okay, what it means? It means that all the countries that are associated in OTAN treaties, in OTAN, uh, in the OTAN, all the countries that are in the OTAN are friends. Okay, they are all friends, and they make this alliance as exactly for one does not attack the other. And we are here in the media trying to explain that Donald Trump shouldn't attack Greenland because they are at the same side, even that he doesn't realize it because he doesn't care. He wants to create a bloc that's bigger than the BRICS and much bigger than the alliance that is implicit in the relations between China, Russia, and Iran, among other countries. Okay, and he is doing this not only with Arabia Saudita or Qatar or European Union. He's doing this with India, and his alliance with India and Japan. Okay, the Japan also. Okay, so he's conquering the world without saying that officially. Okay, but he is colonizing our world like in a way that we never saw. I think I never saw something like that in all my 48 years. Okay, and I think that you shouldn't have saw this before. Okay, only in the Second World War we saw something like that, and his method is very aggressive. Okay, it's a very aggressive and violent method. That kind of gaslighting that we will never be capable to cure again. Okay, we will never be like we were before Donald Trump government. Not only the people from USA. I hope you say saved. Okay, for the next years. I don't know what to say to you because I here in Rio de Janeiro we already know these methods of the police. Okay, we know that in our own skin. Okay, but the methods here are already like that. That's because this is a militia method. Okay, what Donald Trump is doing is a militia method. This method came from the beginning, from the civilization. It's not new. Because of it, humanity knows that it doesn't work. It works only in a kind of how you say that, in a primitive way. He's acting like a man from the caves, or worse than that, because the man from the caves doesn't have the most powerful porta-aviões. I don't know how you say powerful army. Okay, we can say that. No, no, it's not a problem. So he is acting and beyond this. Okay, he elevates the violence to the next level, and we don't know what to expect after that. Okay, but I hope that you be safe. uh, I'm sorry about your losses. We are feeling this here while he was attacking the president, because Maduro and people here also died, including the civilians. It's the most the parts that we have to worry most. Okay, because I think the civilian people for him is not people. It's this. It's discardable. I think in this word exists. I think that civilians for him are discardable. He wants a militarized society. That's what he wants. He wants that all the people are militarized. Okay, people here in Brazil are following this kind of thoughts also. Okay, people here wants also militarize everybody. Okay, people believes that giving a gun for a person is the way to guarantee their own safety, when we know that is where is more guns, there is exactly where is more violence. Okay, and that's what I have to say that for that night. I hope you like it. I don't like too much to talk about this kind of situation, but I think it's necessary for now. Okay, and I call you to do the same thing. I told you before yesterday, and I will repeat now. You have to participate in the political of the political debate. Okay, all the people in the world have to participate of the for the discussion that we are having now. Okay, you have to do that, because we are already losing this war. We are already losing this war. I can prove it for now. I will give you an example. Here I am in my channel on YouTube and also in Facebook. Um, in the both platforms, I have to let a part of what I win for the owner of the platform. I don't monetize it, my channel yet, okay? But if I monetize it, if my channel was monetized, I think that I would have to let 50% or a quantity that looks like that, okay? 50% for the owner of the YouTube and for Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook. Okay, so I start losing my money for the far right. Okay, money that will be spent in the Donald Trump's campaign. Okay, ou seja, conclusion, we started losing. We starting already losing the game. Okay, and we have to have this in our own minds, that by the mathematics we are losing. We are starting losing. Okay, so if we say stop it, We will never win this kind of war that starts here in the social media. Okay, so that video is the first for the first. It's a call for democracy. Okay, not only in Brazil, a call for democracy all over the world, and you should do whatever you want to do. Okay, you cannot if you are afraid to show your face, make a post, write, take a picture, write in a paper, like people do. Okay, with the outdoors and something like that. Okay, but I think you should not be stopping like right now. Okay, and it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what is your age, if you are a young person or or whatever. Okay, it doesn't matter. What is the point here is to it's to for us to fight for our sovereignty, okay, in our territories, wherever you are right now, and for your own democracy. Because uh, first was Venezuela, Greenland, now Greenland, and who will be the next? We don't know. Okay, we don't know, and we should be afraid of it. Okay, I hope that the Greenlanders stay safe, and Denmark people also in the world, okay, for us to be safe, because this man wants everything, but not peace in the world, like he was uh, imposing. It was imposing that he deserves the Nobel Prize, the Peace Nobel Prize. Wow, how it's a kind of delirium tremens. I don't know what to call something like that. I'm sorry about the people who have problems. I'm making this joke, but don't feel uncomfortable. Not at all. I prefer much more you than this kind of man. Okay, it's not about alcohol. It's about sanity in a person that is the leader of the bigger economy in the world. I think if it's not the bigger one of them. Okay, so I appreciate very much your company. And if you want to help me, you should subscribe here on my channel for us to talk tomorrow and after tomorrow. I'll be here for you, for me, and for democracy first. Okay, thank you very much, and bye bye. See you tomorrow.